Okay, right now we have our portable Truer, using it as a stationary unit on any balancer, whether it's a truck balancer, automobile balancer, any kind. You find the center height of the arbor on the balancer, and you bring the top deck to the same height as that. So this plane has to be parallel, right straight level. And then by doing that, you adjust the legs. There's two legs in the front, one in the center and the back, to get this level, so it's perfectly lined up with the center axle of the balancer. Okay, so in order to set up this Truer to the center line of the tire, you need to center the carriage by cranking the hand wheel on the side so that everything is in the center. Okay? And then we take the Truer and we move it up with the handle and then set it down on the stops. You get that, you work it up to the center within a quarter of an inch away. Okay, when you turn the tire away from the blade edge so that you can see what you're dealing with for what kind of a tire you're going to need to be truing. Is it very rough, or is it just got a little bit of irregularity? Now you can see on this tire that it's quite rough on this side and not too bad on this side. When we're truing the tires, we start in the center and we go to the side. So if we're on the center and go to the right, our Truer blade needs to be turning to the right. If we're coming back to the left, our Truer blade needs to be turning to the left. So we stop it and then turn the blade back on, and it'll go the opposite way. So for right now, when you're truing the tire, you go in the direction that you're into. See my rough cut going out. I will finish sharpening it again when I get to the side, or if I happen to have rocks on a used tire, I'll have to sharpen it a couple of times as I go across the tread. So here we go. We turn our cutter head on to the right. I sharpen it till the fire comes out off the tip. You'll know it's at the razor's edge. Okay, that's our lever here to sharpen the stone. Then we have our drive wheel. Turn our drive wheel on, and then we crank it up. Just get it going. You don't have to tighten it down a lot. It's a spring-loaded drive wheel. So there you go. So we have our in and out feed here. You bring it up to the tire. So then, here's our in and out feed, and we start turning. So this is our rough cut going over. Our blade is going to the right as we go to the right. And the tire needs to make one revolution before you move it. Every time you can move it a little bit with the hand wheel. You can see we have a rock in there. Now if you have a big rock and you keep ticking away like that, it's going to dull the blade. So you can stop the Truer and the wheel and then dig the rock out and continue on. Now we're here, we're all the way to the side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sharpen our blade because we're still going to the right. We sharpen it up to the razor's edge. You can see the flame coming off. That means we're at the top. So we stop the cutter head. Don't just pull it because it's a rotating motor, and then turn it to the left. So now we're going to do our finished cut. On this finished cut, you just take a very little bit off, just to clean the tire off. Okay, now we're to the center. That's our finished cut on the first side. Now, if we feel we need to have the blade a little sharper, we stop it. We go back to the right with the motor. We sharpen the blade. Bring it up a little bit. Stop the motor. Now we're going to go to the left, so we turn the motor to the left. And then okay, we're at the rough cut to the left. We stop. Now we turn our cutter blade to the right. We sharpen our blade just a little bit. Get our now we got our fire coming out. We have a nice sharp edge again, a razor edge, and then back across the tire we go. And then this is our finished cut. So we just run this back. Move the cutter head a little bit or however much you're comfortable with. Every revolution of the tire. And to adjust the tire and the machine together, we have the center line of the spindle, and the plane of the Truer has to be the top deck. That's to be in line with the center line here. So you adjust the height of the wheel on the axle up to that spot. Now we're going to set this machine up. We need to center the carriage in the middle of the machine, and then we slide, just work this up, pull the guide away, get within about 1/4 of an inch. You turn the tire and wheel assembly away from the blade, and that way you can see if everything is, you got clearance. You need to have about 1/8 of an inch clearance, 1/4 inch clearance, somewhere in there. Now we got that set up. So we look at the machine, make sure we're it's centered with the tire and wheel. When we're truing this tire, we're going to start in the center and go to the side, which is our rough cut, and then come back as our finish cut, rough cut, finish cut. And in doing so, we always have the cutter blade going into the direction we're going. So in this case, we'll start in the middle, and we'll go out to the side, to the right, so we'll do it that way. We have our light. We have our drive wheel. We turn the drive wheel on. We crank that up. It's a spring-loaded drive wheel. Get that up to the tire, and it's spring-loaded, so you don't have to have a lot of pressure on there, but just enough to drive it. We have a nice knurled roller that grips really well. Now we have our cutter blade, and when we're sharpening the cutter blade, we sharpen in one direction. So in this case, I'm going to sharpen it to the right. You see the fire coming off? That's up to your razor edge. Okay. Then we bring our in and out feed off the backhand wheel up to the tire. We get up to the tire, and then we do our cross feed. So we're going to be showing you how this 405 Truer, you can do the drive tires on any tractor or single straight truck, whatever it might be. And you just get the mud flap rolled up out of the way. Slide the machine up within around 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. Turn it away from the tire so you can see if everything is turning okay and clearing. Okay? So there's our position. So to get this going, we just turn our light on, we turn our drive wheel on. Now we've got a lot turning here. So when we're doing this, we will start out, and you just gradually bring this up, the drive wheel, and just push it on slowly. It's a spring-loaded drive, and just work it up there and get it going. Okay? So you get this going, we got our drives, we have our cutter head, We always true from the center out is our rough cut, and then our finish cut coming back to the middle. So in this case, I would be truing to the center. I go to the right on my first pass. So I turn the truer on. I sharpen my blade to a razor's edge. Bring the truer up to north, and then just start bringing my cross piece. So there we go.